Okay, everybody, it's Marco from Digital. I know for All right, so in this video, we're gonna talk about how I let greed take over, and it pretty much was a process that unfolded throughout the whole week. So, um, oh, and we on camera. This feels very weird being on camera, but y'all might like it. This all unfolded back here on Thursday, pretty much. Again, I'm gonna break down the whole sequence of how these emotions fell in line and ended up causing a loss on Friday, and how that loss started out as a winner and emotion still just took over, right? So, long story short, without doing an entire analysis rundown, I will, for my records, for my video purpose, zoom out to the higher time frames so I can see what goes on. And even if I don't tell y'all the whole breakdown, I'll understand what was happening. Pretty much, there was a daily fair value gap here. We broke below it. We were selling off a lot of selling off. We wicked below that zone, and I was like, that could be a massive sell trap below that zone, and we can just shoot up and run. We could shoot up and run for a long time after seeing something like that. So, Thursday, I was coming to try to take advantage of that. We saw setups pre-market that got taken. This was a level here I was looking to take, but it happened pre-market. It happened overnight. It happened during the Asian session. That got tapped. That got filled. That started playing out. What the bad part was here. This is the setup that started everything, right? I saw this setup form. I got my level. I set my trade, and I was at work, right? We never got displacement through my entry level. All I wanted to see was a candle like this and then a return back to that zone to get me into the trade. I sat there. I sat in the truck at work 5, 10, 15 minutes before I said, okay, I'm going to put my phone away and I'm going to go do my job. I'm not going to sit here and wait for this trade all day. And I'm not going to get in early on when I'm seeing that buyers are struggling. This is not what I want to see. I want to see displacement through that level and I want to see price return back to it. Well, what happened? He shot up. As soon as I left, put my phone away and went back to work, we shot up and we ran, right? So seeing this, I was waiting for every opportunity, for every chance for price to come back to my entry, never came back down to my entry. It did all of this, it did all of this, it did all of this, came all the way back here, still never got me tagged into my entry. So I was married to this level. I was married to this trade for all of Thursday and all of Friday. I was married to that trade. And that's where I went wrong because don't get married to a trade. Move on, right? Just move on. So there was times, well, I did end up taking a short. Because as we pushed up and rallied, we stalled up here and then we sold back down to the range and then we started pushing back up again, right? If we're gonna push up, if we're gonna reload, if we're gonna bounce here, then we want to see new highs getting put in. We didn't see that. We saw a price start to sell up, slow down, and then we printed a valid sell setup. So I took the sell setup, right? Still understanding that, okay, if it's gonna do something like it just did back here, then we might be able to see price push, but fall back down towards that if we're gonna create some type of range. Right. So that's what I was looking for. Took the short, boom. How did this again, we're not here to go over that, but how did this trade affect the rest of the week? Because again, I'm still married to that level. Even while taking this short, I'm still like, okay, price could come back down here, tap this, and run again, right? Maybe we are selling off to go back down here and finally trigger us into this trade because I'm looking at this like, wow, look how strong that move was. I'm married to this level. I know this is a level where buyers could step in, and I can't get rid of that idea. Going to the next day. Friday, again, married to that level. I can't stop thinking about it. Even after we're seeing these strong impulse moves up, this strong buying, I was still like, oh no, shit. I was still like, maybe we can sell off into that level. I ended up here. Now on Friday, I ended up taking a 1 minute trade. Don't usually do that, but I ended up taking a 1 minute trade. Now this is when my psychology started to shift. I said, hold on, hopefully this doesn't disconnect. This is when I said, okay, I'm gonna stop looking for this buy. I'm gonna stop trying to force this buy. And if we're moving down, then I'm gonna go ahead and move down with it. And since we keep pushing up here, again, another push up to the upside that was failing to move higher, I said I'm gonna go ahead and just take a short. All right, so I ended up taking this 1 minute short. Again, not something I usually do. Here's the move up. And even with that, not even the setup that I usually look for. This was basically just, here's a fail to move lower here on this wick, and then a fail to move higher, and then displacement through that low. So that's what I ended up taking for 3.25 points. But that's not even usually the setup that I trade, right? And then of course, waiting for the break below here would have been a real setup. Long story short, I shouldn't have taken that. So that's what triggered the second set of emotions, and the second fuel to this fire was because I was up 200. I took 15 contracts on this trade, and I was up, supposed to have been like $240 after commission and fees. I was up $214 for the day. A $200 day, that's great. I should have walked away. A $200 day on a trade that I shouldn't have taken, that wasn't my um A plus setup, that was 15 contracts, that was only 3 points. I should have walked away. I should have walked away with that, but something didn't feel right. I knew that my dopamine levels didn't spike how they were supposed to. I knew I didn't deserve that win. I knew I had, taken something I usually wasn't supposed to take, and I was still married to this level back here. I'm still thinking, this could have been a much bigger day, right? So instead of, for whatever reason, I still don't necessarily understand it. I didn't walk away. Somehow, for some reason, I let greed win. I've been posting my wins on social media, so a part of me wanted to show off for social media. A part of me wanted to have a $500 day, because if I can just take that 200 and then hit another full size trade, then I can have closer to a $500 day. And I think that definitely did affect things. Psychologically, right? Not even noticing now here. Not even noticing this banger of a trade we could have took. Here's the setup right here. Here's the low. Broke back above the lies. When we opened, didn't even realize, we could have took that stop loss below. Honestly, didn't even realize that. For whatever reason, I must have been looking to try to take a breakdown or something here. I'm not sure why that short was on the okay. That was where I should have originally shorted on a 5 minute time frame if I didn't take the 1 minute setup. So I missed this, right? I missed this banger of a trade at market open. Ran up Friday, and again, for some reason, I was just like, I was still here looking for a trade. I had something I felt like I needed to prove to social media. That 1 minute, that 3 point trade wasn't enough. Seeing that I went from a $240 trade and had to spend $30 in commission and fees, that did something to me psychologically. And then so I marked up this demand here. I was like, okay, when price comes back to this demand, we'll look for a setup and just look for continuation. What did I end up doing instead? Instead, I ended up going off the same mechanics that I looked for, but not the setups. I knew that this could have been an area that people were looking to buy at. So any trap or fake move below that area, buyers could have stepped in. So when I saw this candle, right, sellers came in, started moving up through those sellers. Buyers came in strongly above those sellers. I took an entry here. Got in. Price started moving against me. This green candle here. Once we started pushing back, I was like, damn, this is a setup I shouldn't have taken. My stop loss is down here where demand is, so there's buyers down here. And I could possibly be liquidity where my stop loss was at. I didn't like that where my stop loss was at, because price may wanted to retest that demand zone or run the lower this candle, right? So once this green candle came in, I got out for a small loss. I think I took a $30 or $40 loss there. So I was still at like 160 for the day. And still didn't walk away. After I got out the trade, I see that it would have hit target. I see it would have hit target. So it would have gave me that $450 day that I was looking for. So again, that put me on tilt, because I'm like, bro, I just sold out of a winning trade to take a loss when it would have been a winner, right? It would have been a winner. So for whatever reason, I don't fucking know. I don't know. For whatever reason, even seeing the momentum to the upside, seeing that I would have just had a winning trade that was a buy, which is something I do. I go and look, right? I'll look at my previous trades. I'll say, okay, if I made like this trade, for example, the 1 minute trade. Yes, I made money shorting it, But after the fact, it showed that we're bullish, right? So I'll use that information to say, okay, well, although I didn't short, I was technically wrong, right? I picked the direction wrong here. I timed it correctly for that specific trade, but the overall direction I had wrong. So instead of me trying to say, oh, let me look for another short, let me just be fluid and switch that bias and say, okay, well, if price is moving to the upside, let's look for more buys, right? I do that often. I'll look at what has been working, what has proved me right, and I'll stick to doing it until the market shows me otherwise. Well, for some reason, since all of those emotions were already high, you got to think we got 2 days of negative emotion stacked, right? Still up about $160 at this point because we gave back 40, about $40 on this trade that we sold out of. For some reason, I take the first short that I see. So I see the failed high. We ran this high. We failed to move higher. Cool. I'll take that. We broke below the last selling. Cool. I took that retest. Stop loss above the high. Just targeting back down here again under the impression that price for whatever reason it has to. I know it will return back to this demand. Well, I was fucking wrong, right? Because I don't know anything, and it stocked me out. Ended up taking a full loss for the day and finishing down $60. So we could have walked away with a nice payday on Friday with a nice cushion in our account, moving back up to the threshold that I like to hold my account at. Because I did make a withdrawal from my account, right? So I wanted to put my account back around where I usually trading it at. Instead of doing that, we walked away with a $68 L for Friday from a $200 win, and maybe even a $450 win because that second trade ended up being a winner. We walked away with negative $68. So again, at this stage of my trading, how the hell did I let that happen? How did I go and tilt so crazily like that? How did I let greed take over like that? How have I been in the mentality that small base hits are what is going to bring me success, and small base hits is what has taken me this far to now I'm just going to swing for the fences? It was a combination of not of making money from a setup that I know I shouldn't have taken, right? So I didn't get that dopamine hit from doing the right thing. I didn't get the dopamine hit from following my process because I rewired my brain to now, instead of getting the pleasure from making money, I get the pleasure from knowing that I follow my system correctly because I know that's what's going to take me further in the long run. So since I made money and I didn't follow my system correctly, I was still looking for that dopamine. I was married to a level. I was thinking the price must return to this level at some point. That was making me take trades that was against the trend, thinking that this was going to be a pullback move into the areas where we want to see the trend continue. What else did I do? Oh, I took a trade, again, another trade that was outside my system, and lost confidence in that trade because it was outside of my system and I was trying something new and I didn't hold on to it, and I made a winning trade, a losing trade because I didn't have trust in it because I tried something that was outside my system. So that caused emotions too because it was like, okay, well, now I have FOMO, right? Because I just took a loser on that winning trade. So that all stacked up and put me here. You know what I mean? All of that together stacked up and made me take another trade against the trend, one that doesn't make any sense, full size, and gave everything that I made that day back, plus more, and destroyed me. Like, I was mentally fucked up for the rest of Friday. I'm like, yo, when I get off work, like, I need a massage or something. Like, I need something that's going to, like, help me de-stress. I need some neck or something, you feel me, that's going to help me de-stress and stop thinking about this because I couldn't believe how emotional I was for the day. Luckily, I didn't destroy my account. Again, it was a $68 lesson. Um, we had house money to give back, which I don't even like thinking about it as house money. That's our money. You feel me? If we were to do the right thing and we would have made that, then that's money that rightfully belongs to us. So get it out of harm's way and don't give it back to the market. But luckily, it was only a $68 lesson. And at this point in my trading journey, that's a lesson that I'm willing to pay for and understand again how we got here and what it caused. That's the biggest thing. If it takes me $68 to understand and be able to reflect on this sequence of negative events that led me here, then I'm willing to pay that to make sure that this is something that I can prevent and have occur less in the future. Right? Again, I'm not going to be a robot. I'm not going to be perfect. I can't even believe that I messed up and made this mistake on Friday. But if it costs $68 to give me a reminder to tighten up and keep these things in check, and it gives me another 6 weeks, another 3-4 months of not making mistakes like this, then I'm willing to pay that $68. You know what I'm saying? It's just I'm willing to do that if it's going to cause me more, if it's going to lead to more profits and more discipline and more structure moving forward, even if it's only for a short time period. So I wanted to review this. I wanted to document it. Important video for myself. Just important to have. It's really important to reflect on this and understand what happened here. So that's all I got for y'all today.